Marshall 2210. Owner says the volume is fading in and out, so let's see what's going on with that. Dave Sound Repair, Whippany, New Jersey. Okay, all bets are off as to what's going on inside this app. You know, this sticker often accompanies nightmares. Let's see what's waiting for us inside. All right, the amp is from 1986. Overall, on the outside, seems to be in pretty good condition. The original LCR caps are also from 1986, and they may be, and probably are, the root cause of the issue, but that Dave sticker is kind of scary. Let's see what we see inside. Well, the good news is Dave has not seemed to have done much of anything in this amp, so there's no nightmare stuff. Oddly, the coating on these 7 watt 1K screen grid resistors is popping off. And they say Mauser on them, which I've never seen before. That's a distributor I use, but they don't make parts. But they measure okay. Still, with that coating breaking on 3 of the 4, it makes me think maybe they need to be replaced just in case. But I'm going to wait and see what else I find. The only change parts I see in this amp, over here in the preamp, there's a 1 watt carbon film here and a 1 watt, half watt technically, but really 1 watt metal film Vichy Dale here. So I will know more once I pull the board to make sure all the solder joints are good. Now this amp, like all horizontal input Marshalls, is prone to broken solder joints on pots and jacks, and that may be the cause of the issue. Well, got a replace pot here. Maybe that was Dave's work. I'll check the solder joints, but unless the value is off, that's no big deal. It's not the prettiest of pots to use, but we shall see. The real issue here, and I'm not going to urge the owner one way or another until I power the amp on and play it after I inspect the condition of the board, is it's got all original electrolytic capacitors from 1986. And that is a depressingly long time ago. And they should be changed about every 20 years. So these are all overdue. We'll jump off that bridge when we come to it. Let's pull the board and see what's going on underneath. Well, the solder joints aren't fully broken, but they all have little cracks in them. So all the pots and jacks are going to get a little bit of fresh solder added just to seal up those cracks. Sorry if the camera's shaking. Once I do that, I will fire the amp up and listen and take voltage measurements and see how all the tubes are doing. This amp does objectively, empirically need new filter capacitors and all other electrolytic capacitors, but that, unless one is failed at this point, that is between the client and his budget, and I will make that an option for him. But if the amp is working, and it's working safely, I just have to make that an option available, because I don't know what someone's monetary situation is. It may be that they say, oh great, I'll save up and do that later this year. But I don't want to just push a sale. And I never want to give the sense that I'm pushing a sale. I'm just giving the options for what can be done and what I think should be done and why. And sometimes that's going to be, that needs to happen now. Sometimes that needs to happen within the next 5 years. We'll see which category this falls into. So let me do all the other pots and connections and power this on, and we'll see how the amp is actually behaving. Well, the noise floor is actually pretty good for this model. So I think the filter caps will be a hard sell, but I will let him know that this amp would sound even better with filter caps. That does not mean that they are good. It just means that they are not very, very, very bad. So I'm going to see if this amp actually does cut out or fluctuate in volume, though I have a suspicion that it was just the loose hardware on all these nuts. The preamp makes ground through the bus wire on the back of the normal channel volume pots, and it's more specifically the main volume pot. And over time, those come loose. Metal corrodes a little bit where it contacts other metal, and you get inconsistent grounds or partially loose grounds. That's just a theory, but I'm going to see what I can do to make this amp mess up. In the meantime, it's very 1986. Guitar is a little out of tune, and I'm not really a hair metal guy, but man, this would make someone very happy. You get a super distortion into this thing, and you're ready to go. So I'm going to let this run for a while, let everything get hot, put a signal generator into it, and move wires around and see if I can make it mess up. It may just have been those grounds that weren't great, because when I took the pots off, not all the hardware was tight. But it also might have been all the connections on the pots to the board that I reflowed. Any one of those could have been the culprit of it just sometimes pass the signal, sometimes not. We shall see. I spoke to the owner, and green light to change all the electrolytics. So those two and that main filter cap. These bias caps are crucial. Some of these are just called cathode bypass caps, no big deal, but it's good to change them out. This diode bridge will get replaced with a new one mounted above the board, because that can be a source of heat. And then, of course, this is in the low voltage supply. It's changed out as well, at which point this amp should last a good long while. Farther. One of them's